to avoid a situation where one of our commentators came in one day and there were people either supporting so and so, other supporting this, including other supporting Ruto. The speaker picked up a mic, early Twitter, all the kind of names you can think of, Punda, blah, blah, everything. And I was like, wait a quick second. The person just showed up a few minutes ago. The only thing they have heard is that there's somebody who is supporting another candidate that doesn't support. That level of intolerance, that level of expecting that everybody's going to see it your way, will end up giving you a heart attack. Please avoid that. Realize that, yes, let's go with persuasion. Let's try to show what good leadership what the kind of Kenya we want. But at the end of the day, people are not just listening to one side. You are not the only source of information when it comes to the factors people are considering who they are going to gravitate to. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that let's continue refining our thought process so that now we can move from, sorry, I just got a message from work, so that now we can move from where we used to come in and try to give people the same stories that they have already read out there. So you find somebody giving the same story they saw on in the newspapers or they read on whatever, in the media. I'm like, all of us are probably subjected to that. So let's try to get a little bit deeper in these kind of conversations so that it's not about repeating what is probably already in the public domain. I'm not saying it's bad, because it's not always that people have seen it. So for me to violate my own guideline that I've provided is that it's heartbreaking for me to know that for the first time since independence, it's in this regime that Kenya has been listed as probably the country that is high risk for money laundering and supporting of terrorism for the first time. And how dangerous that, especially in June this year when the EU was listing Kenya. In fact, I think the only East African, the only African country, I believe, that is not something to take for granted. You can't take that lightly. And for us, as even we think about these things, let's look at them that why are we against this regime? Is because when you see that innocent child being incarcerated with terrorism charges, or you see the kids crying, carrying flags because they're burying their 12-year-old classmate, when you see that, the day you translate that to see that this is this regime, that's the day you become angry and say that I need change now. The person who ever made a very interesting, and I'm not campaigning for anybody here, very interesting analogy was the person of Mother Karua. One point it talks about this Kenya of handouts that comes here to bribe people is like the person who comes and steals your chicken. And then when after they have got taken it, they have eaten it, they come and give you izo miguu ikona, what is it called, that whatever, the chicken feet. They give you the chicken feet to eat, and then you are so happy that they have shared with you the chicken that they have shared with you. And yet this is your chicken this tall. The day you recognize that the feet is from the chicken that was stolen from you is the day you will understand how dangerous it is to support a regime that is terrible and not good for you. And that is the change that we are crying for. Let me bring Kim quickly, and then George will come in. Please, George, don't lose your point. Kim, 001. Kim, 001. Okay, George, then you can come in as that. Okay, no, Kim
Yeah,
looks like you're available. Go ahead, Kim.
mine. Oh,
Yeah, Ruderman, if you can hear me, kindly put your mic. Okay,
We can hear you, sir.
I hope I'm really audible. It's very, very refreshing to sit in such spaces and continuously hear names like Maraga. For one reason, we've all come to associate Maraga with what you would call the character of a leader we're looking for, with what you'd call somebody who follows the rule of law, somebody who upholds the constitution. But now Maraga is just a brand. He's just a number plate of that vehicle. We're looking for the vehicle we want to steer, and that the vehicle is good governance. So I believe this movement is still in some sort of metamorphosis. And I believe the final form it will take, then it will be our vehicle good governance, but it might not necessarily have the number plate by the name Maraga. And we should all be really prepared for that. It should not even come as a shock, because I'm looking at Maraga's character here and I'm like, is it not possible to find Maraga's character in George, in Leol, in Escovino, in Japonji, Bettingeri here and there? It's very possible. So we can all together skip these old generation that we keep talking of and find the same good character we're looking for amongst ourselves, because truly, it exists. It exists. We don't always have to fixate our eyes on a Messiah. We always have to believe we are the Messiah we are waiting for. Because if something was to happen to Maraga, God forbid, then I would, I would really not want us to fall into that game of compromises, starting to say now that Maraga is out of question, I think Wamonyoro is now an option. I think Matiang is now an option. I think Ruto can change. I think we need to be brave enough to take that metamorphosis cycle to the end without fear. And one way or another, we are going to find our way. Let us not fear. We just have to consistently build on that and actually not compromise.
Kim, before you
There's also
came
been
in, I don't want you to, I don't want you to lose your train of thought. Before you came in, I think both Keita and Mutai led us through a generational or intergenerational discussion. We had our own conclave in here. And some of the issues that came up is the language, like we need to get to away with these old people. So how then you as the leader who is younger going to fight for my rights who is older, and I'm a person of integrity and I'm embraced by the constitution to also run for office. So don't I qualify? Are you not discriminating and using the same constitution that you're trying to uphold? What do you make of that argument, Kim?
Justice. I lost you for the last bit. Kindly
The
repeat it.
last the
Just
last bit is that I find your language of we don't need to go to these old people for leadership. I find it discriminatory and against the constitution, and of course not accommodating everybody that you are trying to fight for. Why should ageism be a factor in terms of your leadership?
yeah. Truly, I get where you're coming from, and actually, it is that old people that is bringing an issue here. If it was in text, I would have put it in double quotes. But now that it's in speech, I believe being a young person does not necessarily mean that I'm a good, I'm qualified or I'm a good leader in that sense also. Age does not also disqualify Maraga from being the best leader that you're looking for. But we've come to say that as we keep appreciating generations, there are those weaknesses that you'll always find and they kind of keep repeating themselves. It is something we need to appreciate and actually speak about it. It's not that we're doing away with our parents. The Maragas of this world are our parents. We disagree with them based on their generational thinking, the way they were taught to look at things. At times they think we, the young people, are too fast, too impatient, but it's us. You see, those are the kind of small things I'm saying we can actually go all the way and actually get the Maraga in our generation that fits our way of thinking that can actually take us forward. I have nothing against Maraga at this
In
moment.
in Mujadala's initial presentation, he did indicate that the issue of young people being fast, impatient, thinking they know everything, it is not something new. In fact, in his statement, he did make it clear that even as we thought that way, until we grew up and realized that we were actually not right. So Could it be that probably it's important to recognize that when you are that young age, it's typical. That's how people think. And maybe those who have been there, done that, can be it should be listened a little bit. That's my last question to you. I'll give it back to Kato.
Okay, I'll just use like a minute or so to put that into some sort of an example. In governance, you'll find there are decisions that will be made, either national matters or whatever matters, but they'll have to be made by whoever will be holding that mantle. But you've seen the process of decision making. There are things you can rush, there are things you can't rush. But as things stand in this country, you've seen the bureaucracy in things that don't require bureaucratic processes. Those are the kind of things I'm actually saying. We can actually speed up things that can be sped up. We can actually take our time in things that require time. We can actually respond with actions with things that don't require talking, just actions. And we can always talk where it demands that people sit down and hold conversations. That is all I'm talking. I'll actually go forward and touch on this thing of resources, which is the question of the day here.
1 more minute.
Kindly, yeah. About where without resources. I tend to agree that we'll need resources at some point to achieve our goal, which is actually to save our nation from all these bad leaders that we have. What I don't agree with is the values that keep coming up based on past elections, that this is the minimum amount a candidate can requires to actually run a successful campaign. I really don't believe we know these humongous figures, those billions they keep quoting here, but we'll need a lot of resources, but not it might not be those humongous figures. Also, it's at that juncture that I pose this question. Now that at some point we realize we cannot outmuscle the state in terms of resources, does taking the pinch out of what money does during campaigns, doesn't that become actually what I would call like a more useful way, so that now we can be on the same page? Because we'll have to change two things here. We'll have to change the way we campaign and the how. The how means we cannot play their game. We cannot win by playing their game. We somehow have to change the game. And and the other part becomes the how we message, the how we talk actually. We cannot beat them by speaking the way they speak, by promising the way they promise. We outrightly have to change that conversation to something they are very uncomfortable with, and that will be more or less what I would call what was that word I used? Anyway, justice. That
Thank you.
got away from me.
Much
I
appreciated.
just
Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, Kim, for engaging us on that subject. Very, very, very good points there. I'll give it to Kata, and thank you for those that have just joined us. We have been here probably longer than we should. It's at least 3 hours. We of late we have been trying to carry to 3.5 marks, and then of course we are trying to scale it down to eventually achieve our 2.5 mark in the coming weeks. And please bear with us because we still have new speakers. So and joined by my co-host, the only guy who calls me Uncle Justice, Karibu Keita.
I didn't want George. George, you had something to say before we bring in the new speakers. Go ahead, George.
Yes, yes. I wanted to ask Justice a question because, for the love of God, I cannot understand. I cannot put my mind around it. There's a lot of popularity around Maraga, Matiangi, Omatata, and the rest, the gang. Just can you tell me why these people can't work together for a common goal? Why are we splitting? Like, I can't understand. I just wanted your thoughts on that. Why can't they work together? That would solve everything, don't you think?
It is, and if I have to respond quick so that you can have other speakers, is that if I have to look at it from a political angle, is that they have they don't seem to be people that are compatible politically in terms of complementing each other. They're pursuing different goals. As much as I hear the young people talking about, let's have Maraga or and Umtata deputize each other in which way, I look at it and I wonder politically that what is the other person bringing to the other? That's number one. But number two, it's also an aspect of, which is not going to sound very good for the young people, that there is a lack of political grounding. Political grounding is very important when it comes for you, and which you don't understand until you throw yourself out there when it comes to campaigning. I did campaign to almost every house when I did the 2022 running, gave all by money that I could think of. Went to the churches. I would go to like 5 churches. If Ruto tells you you can go to 10 churches, a Sunday, we did all that. And then I conducted opinion polls. We were leading. When we came down and realized that we ended up actually number 3, I almost left that place and I didn't even want to see the voters because they were waiting to celebrate. That's how heartbroken you become. So the point I'm telling you is that there is a lot of, in my assessment, political growing that needs to be done by these teams to understand that winning is not about the popularity of what people are telling you. That is very important to note. But lastly, I would think that each one of them is being pushed into this, as Maraga has admitted publicly, without them having that drive that I wanted to lead my country and serve my country. But now, according to his statement in the recent interviews, that there are people who came to him. Of course, he has refined that answer with the time after realizing that was the wrong answer. And people just came to him and dragged him out of his place to come and lead us. And that usually it can be a very exhausting approach. But if you have a self drive, whether you lose 10 times, like let's use the word Raila, you would still go for it. So what I'm telling you is that we are dealing with a very delicate situation that both those of us who are the young people pushing them and those who are being pushed have to handle very carefully, in the sense that, yes, I know you want me to come and lead you, but I don't have it in me. I have the character of what you're looking for, but as maybe Kim was saying, can that be found in someone else who actually is interested in leading the nation? And I think that's how I'll leave it at that for now. George?
Thanks. Yeah, I think that would be a great first step for the movement, is to say, if you want our support, if you want our votes, then you guys have to work together. Something like that. A condition. I don't know.
Over to you, Keita.
Thank you. I see new speakers on the panel. I think Bosire, Japunj, and Kasim. I'm just gonna chime in one or two things before we go. We get back to you guys. My question, the reason why I asked where should the Gen Z start gravitating towards to, is because we keep getting blamed for, like, we don't have focus. We're not. We don't have somewhere where we're child. We don't have a leader, and that's the problem. Even if we go to Maraga, when Omkio Mtata was pitching out his campaign, they told him mind atafute pesa. So it tells you, like, the financial backing that these people have is major, but we have the numbers, So, and funny enough, of all the speakers that I've spoken, I've not even had anyone championing him for a new leader, because Maraga, for Christ's sake, the guy is old, and I'm not saying he cannot lead, but two-term tupatie mjama, like, new leadership. Where is the essence of new leadership? So we keep giving the same people power over and over again. And this is why Gen Zs have a problem. The monotony has to break. The same people, these millennials, the Gen X and those ones who are there, baby boomer, you guys have been in power for such a long time and no change has happened. Now, when we protest, oh, we have so much temper. Please, bring us back to the focus. When I asked you the question, where should we start gearing our focus towards, I didn't really get a direct answer. And it's not a direct answer that I'm looking for. is something that at least you can say, okay, this one we can work with. Because right now, 2 years too, we'll be voting, we'll be standing on those polls, even less than 2 years now. So I didn't really get it unless someone can refine it. Mjadala, I see your hand is up. We'll do Mjadala, and then if anyone else, Japunj.
Yeah, I'll be very brief to your question ama concern kwamba unasikia ni kama hujajibiwa. That's because there's no definitive silver bullet, and it's unfair to expect. You were not here when I submitted the very initial time when Mutai gave me the opportunity. It's unfair to expect an overnight change, ama to expect the ocean while we have 3 drops of buckets. You know what I'm saying? 3 buckets of water. You get what I'm saying? So we have to count our wins right now, that the country is more than ever politically conscious today, more than they've ever been before. And that's a win, right? We have to know and to be very, 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 very happy with the fact that even the political language during this election cycle, whether it is by jokes or by really serious transformation, will have to change. When people come to the podium and they start speaking, oh, ndaletea mama yako punda tatu, oh, hata huwa watoto wote wako hapa nitawapatia laptop, watu wataambia hiyo ni jaba right there and then, and they'll walk away. You get what I'm saying? And we've already seen this happening right now. At funerals, at church functions, people are walking away from politicians who are lying blatantly. That is thanks to what? The movement. So there's a change that has happened. Another win, Keita, that I want to mention to you, there's very many young people who have actually taken their time to structure their campaigns and create pitches. Some of them have joined traditional parties. Some of them are still independent. And these are wins, whether they're in the traditional parties or they're not. Whether you agree with them joining the traditional parties like ODM or not, or being independent, that is a win. That is coming from the collective consciousness that is happening right now. So you ask, what are we doing? We don't have to all agree as we are about 30 billion. Let's say million. Let's just say the young people are about a rough estimate of 20 million. Let's just use 20 for now. The 20 million will not agree to go left, all of us. No. But we have to be okay that kutakuwa na miondoko fulani kunakuwa na groups fulani ambazo zitatokea pale na zitafanya tu vitu ambavyo ni sawa na zinapigana kuelekea kutengeneza Kenya kuwa nchi nzuri. Now that's our call. So right now, let me give you some example. The point is in a think tank that's helping the young people think about the way forward. Anthony is leading a movement to remove people from jail. These are wins, Bana. These are wins. We're here in this space. We've talked for almost 2 hours since I joined. Again, we are having very deliberate, very good discussions that if people take to really think about it, kuachana na mambo ya Maraga kwa sababu amepitisha 60 haizi kuingia uongozi, that's defeatist thinking. If someone is good, they're good. Let's not look for reasons to again knock them down instead of pushing them forward. Asante sana, Keita.
Okay, thank you. I don't know. I see new speakers. Japunj, and then we'll go to Kasim.
Thank you, Justice. Thank you, Keita. Keita, for the first time, I see you are serious in life. See, this is the progress we are talking about. I'm used to seeing you in other spaces, but anyway, thank you, Mutai. George, you know what I'm talking about. Anthony, I've been with you. Mjadala, thanks for that submission. The first thing that we have to acknowledge is that the Gen Z, or if you like, youth or Gen Z, or whichever term you use, is a factor, they are a force to reckon with. If you are any politician in Kenya today, and you ignore the aspect of Gen Z, then I think you're in dreamland. The same way a politician will also tell you, I mean, the normal politicians who've been here, they'll tell you that if you ignore tribalism, then you are in dreamland. So we counter that by telling them, okay, let's see what happens, because according to my hypothesis, is that 60% of the youth will form bulk of the voter registry going forward. It's just a matter of time. We will just come back to these spaces and you will see. The next course of action, imagine 60%. This is history, and people who are doing selective historical, simple history analysis, they are not telling you this. They also have to tell you that for the first time in history, we expect Gen Z registration to be at 60% of the total votes. And we are looking forward to that day that our parents will ask us, you guys have been dying on the street, route has been, so who do I vote? See, when we reach that level whereby our parents engage us and ask us, not the other way around, on whom to vote for, then we will have almost be there. We will have reached that point. But for now, how do we get there? This is a big question. As Mjadala said, and most of you have been here, we've been trying so much, to bring in all the Gen Z factors, Yeah, Gen Z are leaderless, we know that. But there are people that we identify as leaders. Even you now, in this space, when you hear the word Gen Z leadership, somebody comes to your mind. Yes, those people, I don't want to name names, those people. We've been with them in several think tanks. I think Kinagian, a lot of SG, KOT Sonko and all of them, we've been together. And I can tell you here, from the point of information, without fear of anything contradiction, that it's not as easy as it looks. It's not easy to bring all the Gen Z together with the same mindset. Yes, they have a common goal. They can go to the street and do that. But now the problem is when they have to come together for a common goal, mobilize resources, speak in one, have some structure without leadership. Because I'm of the opinion that Gen Z that should come together should not have conflict of interest. Like if you want to vie for member of parliament, MCA, you should not be in the think tank group for structure. That is where we are always differing, because your aim will always be to go to the, use that as a platform and take advantage of that and, mobilize resources for your own good, so something has come up here, which is also there in our old politicians, that everybody wants that fame in quotes. That's why some of us, we don't care about positions. We just want to help and make sure that at least they come together. There is mobilization of resources such that if something happens, like what Anton is doing is very good, working with those people who have been accused of terrorism. So we can channel all our energy, resources, everything at one point, bring them together as one, so we can have a good audit and report, like if you just go in there and ask someone, how many Gen Z are in prison today? What are their charges? What is pending? So we can have that good structure, because the way things are going, there's no time. And the more we waste time, the more the other people, they are less but more organized. We are the majority but disorganized. And I agree 100% with Anthony. Anthony, you have a very good mindset. When I look at these people here in this space, Peter, I see leaders. I see leaders. Although we don't want them to identify as leaders, but at some point, there has to be people who help to make that structure. Everybody is scared to identify as Gen Z leader because of what has happened before. Look at Morara. Morara actually was self-imposed leader. Who picked him? Who chose him? Who told him to make the political party? You see, that is the problem that we have. Rigathi has also declared his I don't know, Gen Z leadership. Because everybody wants a pie of Gen Z. So the things are just starting. And as I said, as I learned, we will not give up. Join us. Justice, you know what I'm talking about. Let's come together. Let's push for that structure. Whatever you have in mind, let's make that structure such that people who are building that structure do not hold positions. They create for others. That is what happens. You don't create positions and then you fit in like our politicians do. We are running away from that. Like Anthony, George, you can come in. I see also George, the other George, you changed your name, Mjadala. You can come in, provide your opinion, not expert. I'm not talking about expert opinion. Bring in your input. Let's see which way forward. How would the structure look, such that when we try to bring people in, and then we say, look, these are not leaders. These are part of the structure or committee. We can call them committee, And then we start from there. We have to start from somewhere. And then now we can invite people on the table that we have built. You cannot invite people on the table and then you sit on the floor. There is no table. That is what I've been talking about for many, many months. We need to, once the table, hata kama near wood, it's for wood or metal, the table is there. Now we can tell Maraga and Okiya Mtata, guys, come listen to us. That committee that we have picked, that they are meeting there probably for the first time. You bring in and then we say, look, we know this guy, he's been consistent, this is his history, we've done background check, he's very good, he can help in this sector. Come in the committee. This, we summon them. We tell them, look, this is now serious. We cannot wait for you to decide. We have decided. Come from the table, do this and this, meet, and walk your way out. Bring whoever those people are, and then we move forward. That is where we are now. I know it's very tough, trust me, holding those meetings on Zoom and everything, but we will not give up. Anthony, I know you are a very good guy. You have very good opinions here. I've listened to you, Amjadal, and a lot of people. But now you people are drawing the line when the actual work is being asked of you. Reach out, let's see what we can do. No one is going to save you. Avoid that savior mentality. Let's all try to do, at least we will say, we did this, we are doing this, we are trying this, and that's the way to go. Thank you so much, Keita and Justice.
Thank you so much, Japunj. I see George has joined us, but let's go to Bosire, Mind Over, and then we'll land at George. Bosire, go ahead. Bosire, if you're not ready, we'll go to Mind Over Matter. Mind Over Matter, any contribution?
Thank you very much. A lot has, the good thing about these spaces is that, it makes us, you take in what other people, you learn by listening. And that is what I've learned most. I try listen most because try speak last so that, everything has been said because, eh, where we are as a nation, and it's let me not speak about that. Let me speak about, how we can look, move forward, even economically, politically we talk.
Just a moment. Are you a Gen Z?
No, I'm a millennial.
I'm a millennial. That's a
Yeah,
question.
born 91.
Okay, and that's a question. Where do you think because they're saying we are not focused towards pioneering one leader. Right now in the movement, where do you think we should be putting our focus in terms of leadership?
I think on that, we what we can agree is that people want change, and people want progressive leadership. There is the rule of law, respect for rule of law. Whoever is at the top there, whoever it is, if they agree on the key points where they are going to respect the rule of law and constitutionalism, the political, I think the political war at this point, it is on it is on our side because we have been talking about abductions and murder and all. The government has been perpetuating that on the people. But for me, at this point at this point in time, the highest risk to our security is still the same government. Nothing has changed. Going after activists. So that is where we are. But from what our demands have been, we can agree what our demands have been. From whether a religious point of view, we have seen our church. The division has been sowed among. We are talking about tribal divisions. We are talking about church and what role it has played. What we have seen priests being murdered. So at the end of the day, when we sit back, we watch judiciary. We see the judiciary and the securities with the drone for senior government officials. Going after members of parliament, going after. So at this point, Whoever is at the top, if that person agrees that we all agree that what our demands are these, so that we can have an end to the and it does not need to start when we vote for someone. Why, we can declare
Mind of
them.
a matter. Let me try to understand where you're going with this, because I'm missing the action plan. I'm missing a concrete thing that the Gen Z or the young people can do to build a resource power that is going to make a difference in the next elections. Example is what I've been given, that focus on building maybe the financial muscle, build some kind of a movement in terms of like something concrete, something what can. Of course, we are demanding. We know the demand. We want good rule of law and constitutionalism. We want somebody who has not been tainted. We get that. So, as the youth power in Kenyan politics, we're asking the resource that they can build right now. Even if we don't focus on particular individual, what can we do to build that power?
That has to be intentional. People have to know that they have to sacrifice the financial aspect of it. If you are to look at it now from the financial aspect of it, whether it is contributions, we have seen it being mobilized. So we know it can be mobilized beyond, even on public platforms. People can do that individually. Groups of 10, groups, but it has to be within the people. This cannot be done for the people. They have to do it. You see, and the few that can do it, and that is, in terms of demographics, where we have people leaving school cannot find jobs. It is a reality. They might not have that financial power. So what is the role of those within a certain demographic that has benefited over the last 20 years?
Let me be like Keita, but a little bit in between Keita and Mjadla and George, and ask you a question. You are making this, and you can execute this in a minute or two, okay? So that, because we can give other people a chance. You're here making a presentation to these youth that are listening to you right now, probably, I don't know, 75 people. And I want you to call us to action, so that I'm going to walk home today that here is the call to action, and this is what I'm going to do. Tell me. I said I'm in between Kate and George because Kate wants to give him the congrats, and then Mjadala was like, it's not that straightforward. So tell me, what is the call to action?
You talked about there being 70 people in this group, right? Give or take.
Proceed.
So if this if each and every one of these 10 people or 70 people had a group of 50 who have, or whatever number, based on their own initiative to bring people together, we will have a population of 7,000, almost, if the 70 had each, 10, we are talking about 700 people that agree on one thing at this specific point. So we can say, and you can go do your do you have 10 people as a minimum? Then you can move from 10. How do you get to 20? Then how do you get to 30 and 40 and 50? If we knew that each person was going to do that here, within 3, 4, 5 months, we will have a very huge number. That's why I say sitting in numbers. But how we amplify those numbers, we need a common goal and a common, that is what we need.
Thank you,
And
man.
we can decide. Yes,
Mhm.
that's my submission at this point.
No, very good. Thank you very much. And again, good engagement and good participation. I'll give back to Keita to and Mtaizia too, so then you can lead us to the next few people as we plan probably to be closing not long from now. But again, I'll let the cause continue because they are better. What do you call it? Moderate. I wonder Swahili word. Mjala, you should be teaching me at least one Swahili. What's a moderator is in Swahili? Mjala. To moderate? No.
MC.
Go ahead, Kaden Mutai. Mutai, karibu back.
Okay, thank you very much. I will let Keita lead me.
Sure.
Because now I've been on the listener mode.
Okay, let's go on with Gerald, and then we'll circle back in, and then we'll finish up on a couple pointers. So back, Gerald, I see you. Gerald, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity also to echo what most of you have just said. There is one question that I think one of us, mind of us, been asked. What should we do? What is the way forward? Basically, from what Jabunj said, when you look family demographics in our country, you realize that in every family or household, we have young people in that household. And those young people in each and every household, if we stand together and basically persuade even those who are a bit older than us with that one common agenda of having good leadership, it has to start now. We are the resources. Basically, we don't need to raise money for Maraga for him to become the president. What we need is to use we are the resources, to use our own knowledge to persuade people to talk as a family of young people, come together and agree, nope, this is the way to go. When you go out, you spread that kind of good news. I think there is something we have to, something so simple we have like to take into account. Imagine, I think from a Christian perspective, Jesus never had so many followers. He only chose 12. And from these 12 disciples he had, we have a very huge following. A very huge following. How did we come with all this huge following? He just instructed them, go out and spread the good news. So it is high time for us as young people, we go out, spread that good news of saying, nope, we don't want a voter bribery. What we need is that if we stand for one which is good governance, good leadership, then whom are we going to censor to be the one who is the flag bearer of this? We as the young people who need good leadership. If we have censored someone and we feel this person is worth like running for that post, then is we as the resource, because if today we raise the cash for someone like Maraga to go out start campaigning, basically is going to meet people. The same people is going to meet is us. And if it is we, and basically we have settled that this is the way to go, why can't we spread that news among ourselves, among our kin, and try to tell them this is the right way to go, or this is where, if we want the country to be in the right trajectory, then we have to fall into this kind of direction. If it comes to voting, because many people, basically, I'm interested into politics, and I'm also vying from my home area. The same challenge I'm getting as a young person is that even when you go to a if the young people escort you to a church or to a social gathering somewhere, when you are getting out of that social gathering, unasikia wanasema in our Kisi language, tosere. Tosere is that give us something small. And when you try to engage them that this is the kind of negativity you want to move from, and be focused to good leadership, so that I will not, once I'm there, I will never steal their money, so that I take them back to the cash back to them. They don't really get to understand that. What they need at that moment, because you are a leader, you want to be in the office of leadership, they expect that you have money. and you have to give them that money. So it is so challenging. But the best thing I think we have to do as young people is to have that common goal, and to think from a certain perspective where we have to say that nope, if we are supporting someone into a post of leadership, then it is not about money. What we need, it is to see if somebody is capable. And basically, the simple question basically mostly people have to ask, like, yes, you want to be a leader. Why do you want to be a leader? You want to serve. I want to serve. Why? How are you going to offer your service? Will your service be attached towards something, or the service you are going to give, it is a selfless service you are going to give to the people by championing basically what they have sent you to do for them? So it is very tricky, but and mostly what I always say, if we are not very careful, these wasays and whatever, they are going to override again on us, because you realize that when someone goes, a young person comes and says, nope, I'm standing for this, and basically I'm going for this post. And the reason why I'm going for this post is because I want to do ABCD. And the ABCD is explaining for us to do for us. Basically, does it reflect what the young people want? You see, but it reaches a point again, you realize that the same people that you are talking with, who are young people like you, they're the one criticizing you, that aka kajamaa sunaona hata anakuanga na kagari kadogo, huyu jamaa anataka tumweke huko aende kutafuta do na cheki. But when ikifikia hapo, unapata sasa again tunaanza kuwa na ile negative energy towards our own self. But if we can, hata tukitoka watu 10 from the same constituency and we are young people, basically we can sit down. Venye Chaponja amesema, we are supposed to have a group of certain individuals, even if they are not basically into leadership, but people who can do censorship for these young people. Now waambie nyewe, from the kind of stuff we have done, without falling for whoever, we see that this guy can be the flag bearer for the young people from this constituency. If we can reach to where we can have a consensus on this, then I think we will go far. You know, as much as we are saying, oh, whom are we going to choose up there? If down here we are not also choosing guys who are going to help this person to govern in the right way, then I think we are going to miss the whole thing.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Gerald. And again, as the course continue, I want to encourage all of you to really encourage people to join, but also be part of our conversation. If you have never followed our spaces, Justice for All, just feel free to follow us. We're here, the great speakers been doing every day. We are going to carry down to our main days to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then, of course, there will be maybe other subtopics in between, but Tuesdays and Thursdays will remain to be our main days so that we can co-host and build. And I'm glad today my two Gen Zs are doing a phenomenal job. I can vote for them any minute, any day. And I'm so glad that great speakers are here. Thank you so much. Over to you guys.
I see Mind Over Matter. We have a couple hands up, Mind Over Matter, and then we'll go to Gravity Mziki and then back again. So Mind Over
and
Matter, go ahead.
also don't forget there's a George. The other
Oh,
George.
yeah.
Wait, let's say,
George.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, George.
Fine.
Is it supposed to be George Arena, eh? Let's start with George. Mind, sorry. George, go ahead.
I think it's called George
Now give me
447. Sorry.
30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Spoken.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think we have given the political aspect of our society too much power. And part of the solution is taking out this power. So, I think we need an alternative, in my point of view, an alternative social structure where we can build at growing. Because if we can grow, organically down there or wherever you are, the demands will, people will have more people, pushing for better change, and people can push their own, way. Those that are in sports or whatever sector. My 30 seconds. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Gravity Muziki ameshuka. Gravity, are you there? I think Gravity has dropped. I see George down there. This George. George, the Lord Gen Z, I've invited you to speak. If you can.
Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, that's you, George. Eh?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. And of course, before I start, let me just presume that I'm like the youngest person over here. I'm just 19, and I've been waiting for almost an hour. But thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute, to this space. Okay, so let me first start by saying that Kenya Kenya, we are like used to a system of, politics of tokenism in that, people want to get something from their leaders in order to appreciate, and align with their thoughts. Now, for us as Gen Zs, for us to bring something greater to the table, we must be ready to sell our vision, in a way that that person, when you go kwa ground, the person at the grassroots level can choose our vision over the token that will be given by the, let me call them the older generation, because that will be their card even in 2027. So I do feel like as young people, we really need to be dynamic. And this war is going to start from the grassroots level. We shouldn't like focus so much on who is going to be our presidential candidate and forget that we are in a system whereby it's going to start from the grassroots level, from the MCA to the MP to the governor. So we must like be thinking of all this and not just concentrating all our energy on who should be the presidential candidate, and forget where it all starts from. That is the person at the ground. So I do feel like we must be very visionary at this point because we are focused too much on, condemning the current regime, forgetting that we have a part to play. We have to be ready for the war that is coming before us. So I do feel like we must be ready to sell our agenda from the grassroots level for us to overcome the usual politics of tokenism. Okay, that's all that I had for you. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Damn, you're 19. Aluta continua. I'm happy to see there's one Gen Z, still a Gen Z. Gravity Muziki, go ahead.
Hello,
Yeah,
can
we
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you now.
Mutaisi uongea haraka, unafungua mic alafu unazima tena ni host.
No. Before Gravity Muziki, I just wanted to really compliment George. It is insightful and inspiring that you are 19 and you're already taking up these spaces. Congratulations, Mazi. I like it.
Gravity, go ahead. Gravity, I don't think we can hear you. You might need to drop and come back again. Okay. I see new speakers on the panel. Richter, how are you, my brother? Been a while, eh?
Yeah.
What's your any 2 cents on the topic? And then we move forward.
Thank you for the opportunity. God, it's been a long day, but anyway, I saw the space was on, and the topic really attracted me. So like, I just had to come and pitch a few of my thoughts and see if they'll make a difference. I think if there's one thing if there's one thing that the current leadership has managed to do is they have managed to like provoke the silent majority, because as we all know, Gen Z's, let's just say the youth population in Kenya, we are the majority, and the level of incompetence, the level of bad governance is what has us all here. Like, we are here, we are advocating for change. Basically, everywhere you go, there is youth activism. every youth wants to take up. Every youth wants to have their voice out there. Every youth wants to take up leadership positions. But in as much as the youth are attracted to leadership positions and to make a change, to make a difference, there's that question of resources. Because as you know, in Kenya, politics it majorly relies on money. If you don't have money, then it is so hard for you to navigate. It's so hard for you to get your name out there and like have the people listen to you, sell your ideas and all that stuff. But I'd say that is to some certain extent. I wouldn't say that the resources are the underlying principle of Kenyan politics. Um, I'm tempted to give an example of there's this youth MP during the time of Uhuru from Central Kenya. I remember the guy. He started campaigning a bit early. He started selling out his manifesto to the people a bit early, like 2 years beforehand. I remember back then alikuwa anaitwa nani sijui MP wa sweater whatever. He just used to campaign with a sweater and a bicycle. It didn't take much for him to like navigate through his constituency and all that stuff. So to me, when like I use that as an inspiration story to like the youth to like show them that resources are not like the underlying issues. Resources are not the underlying principle for you to get into leadership. You can just, if you indeed calling, then you'll find a way to navigate the challenges of sourcing for resources and having to convince people vote for you. I can give another example of Peter Salasio. Peter Salasio campaigned in 2017. He had nothing. He only had a vision. But in 2017, I think it was just more like a free trial to like just test the waters and like see how things are. And then in 2022, he finally came around with very little to no financial assistance. So when I look at some of the youths being complicit and them saying that we need resources for us to be like get in the ground and campaign for whatever, campaign for maybe MCA, maybe MP. Like I think that in itself is a bit, it's a bit I don't know, pretentious, I'd say, or rather complicit. Do if it's indeed a calling, just find a way and get yourself in there. And I think when the youth, when they call for resources, I think it's so hard for you as a youth to convince the electorate on your credentials as a person, and what you're willing to offer them as a leader. Because I think the major issue with youth leadership is the inexperience and that to convince people of your true character. Because we have seen time without number, people going in there in parliament and being, I don't know, it's like once you cross that door of parliament, it's like a new you is born. So having to navigate all that and convince people that when you go in there, you will not change, you will advocate for them. It's kind of tricky, but I'd say more youths need to come up, the ones that feel like they're going to be leaders. Because what we have in Kenya right now is everyone wants to eat. Like when you look at the type of leaders that are more connected with the people, like there are very few people want to work, and so many people want to get in there, earn those hefty salaries, get kickbacks from the president to pass specific legislation. So it's so hard because the society we're living in right now, we are in a society where mistrust is it is the underlying theme. Like I don't trust you. How can I be trusted? How can I be assured that if I trust you with my vote, you will not go there and get lost in the politics of parliament rather than to focus on the leadership. And majorly, I don't think this is a problem in Kenya specifically. I think the whole of Africa. God, it's all about people eating. It's not even about leadership. It's politics,
Thank you,
not
Rich.
leadership. Anyway, I'm done,
Mhm.
and thank you for according me this opportunity.
No, thank you for contributing. My co-host, I think I would just allow Janice to contribute, and then everybody else who has spoken will get a chance to make their final remarks. And of course, you, the co-host, will be last in making your final and closing remarks, start organizing those thoughts. But Janice hadn't spoken, so we'll speak, and then we go to Gravity. We just move around the room to give our closing remarks. Appreciating everybody that has created time, very good time to be here with us to contribute your thoughts, your ideas, your wisdom, but also giving direction on the way that we need to move forward to really harness this kind of energy and resources to move us forward as a people. But the young people have shown great leadership, and I do appreciate. Janice. Janice, can you hear? Wow. Okay. Janice, if Janice can't hear me, then I think I'll move forward with. Okay, please,
No,
please
I can hear you, bro.
open your mic and proceed. We have very few minutes remaining, so I'll just want people prepare their closing remarks. But go ahead, you hadn't submitted, so please go ahead and submit.
Yeah, unanisikia vizuri sasa lakini.
Yes, I can.
Thanks. So I'll try to make it as brief as I can. So about topic where the direction should be without the resources. Well, we can't necessarily say we don't have the resources. It's just relative to what they have access to, those who are in the political space. And then it's all also based on a bit of convenience, because ukiangalia watu, that's how they have managed to be there for, since you can remember. Unapata the recurring faces, because every time ikihitaji huyu afanye kazi na huyu, they will do anything as long as they don't surrender some of the power to an unknown party mwenye ataanza kuleta vitu zenye, new things to the table. Kwa sababu kama mimi nilideal na huyu at a certain time, najua I know the strategy, so I'd rather have them close to me, and then we can work things out later. But as the youth, the direction we should be taking, we just have to realize that more work has to be done. Yeah, the shortage of resources does not mean that you cannot do it. It just means that you have to put in a bit more effort. And George ameisema vizuri, because the previous has also said it, because this e-tourism is the biggest chip and there is the card going to play. Okay, so it will just take you a lot more work kukuja convince mtu that you have to consider changing unafikiria when it comes to voting someone in, because you're actually surrendering the power to them. Yeah, and once you have given it to them, they will not need you again for the next 5 years, and then Mokamusha, they will come and tell you some sweet nothings. So we just have to realize that more work has to be done, first of all. I will also say to those who are aspiring to take up positions, whichever position you want to take, you just have to start now, start as early as you can, because they work on advantage. They have an advantage. The access to share some of the whole resources stuff. So you just have to start mobilizing for whatever you are saying. Ndio ujue those who are like-minded kama wewe, because it's actually surprising that you will come to space like this and you will meet youths who are very eager, and they anticipate change. But then ukiwa kwa ground and you have a political discussion with the youths wenye mko na wao, very few are willing to stand up for what they believe in. So you have to push it. Kama wewe you want to stand for something, maybe opposition, and you have to start now. Lazima umobilize watu, because at the end of the day, seriously, you need the numbers so you can get the votes. And then we also have to realize that we have to strategize, as a group. Alliances have to be formed to strategize a whole. On someone's part, but as a group, lazima lazima kutakuwa na coalition somehow. because politics it's not a lonely game. sorry, sio mahali unaenda ukiwa isolated, because they will just pick you out and they'll just pick you and throw you out. Lazima you will have to have alliances hapa na pale, and people have to realize that as early as now. And that hope is not a winning strategy. You don't just I'm hoping that things will go good for me, sijui nini. Lazima you strategize, because personally and generally, I think when it comes to all of these politics and whatever you are seeing currently in the country right now, nothing happens by chance. Yeah, once you get to those high positions, hakuna kitu yenye ina happening by chance. Everything is made, it's a strategic decision. Yeah, yes, our mistakes, more zingine they will bring you down, but nothing just happened. Yeah, when you see people taking out the money, giving away gifts, nothing just happens. It's not like it's your friend, you are saying, let me give them a watch or something. No, it's some people have sat and tell you, do this because it's the right thing to test the atmosphere, or for whatever reason they might think or believe in, but nothing just happens by chance. So at a way, you don't just sit and wait for something to happen to you and then I will take over from somewhere. No, you have to think and have an elaborate step-by-step, plan, how you're going to achieve things. Also, as I said earlier, you have to align yourself with like-minded people. Yeah, to avoid the coalition mingi sijui mara the statements coming from this side sijui nini. Lazima you realize, okay, huyu tunapelekana, so now we can start strategizing with them. And thanks. That was my submission. Thanks for your time.
Very good submission. Yeah, thank you very much, Janice, and thank you for being part of us. We welcome you to join us whenever we are on air talking about matters of good governance, leadership, and integrity. Gravity?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, please proceed. Maximum of 2 minutes as we close.
Yes. I think our number one resource is that I tend to believe that we are genuine people. We are very our thoughts for this country is based on genuinity, and I don't think the monetary aspect is so big. Everyone across the generations believes that what we want for this country is genuine. We want this country to have progressive leaders, and we want this country itself to be progressive. So I think our number one resource is that we are genuine. Number two, our litmus test will be that we have 23 vacant seats from the Senate to the MCA. And if we capitalize on that, I think we shall have a sense of direction from there. And I hope our dream will not die, even if you are going to get to 2027. I think if we clinch the 23 seats, we shall have direction from there. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much. I think the next one we can go to mind over matter. 2 minutes, Max.
Thank you. We must not stop. We must keep pushing. There's no turning back. That is what I tell myself every day, because we need the change now. Because in a few years, if there is no reversal at this point, the unemployment, housing as a concern, housing, all that, infrastructure, all that, with the changing climate, all that, strategic reserves, food, people have to know. And that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thanks, Mind Over Matter, and thank you for being part of our conversation. Closing remarks from Rudaman.
Yes, Justice, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Since I started listening to this space, the initial space I did, I was really bashed. because I said something that did not go well with some speakers who were there, and they really crushed my ego. Until I started joining your space, at least I gained some confidence. And nowadays, I can really contribute. And I've seen it today. There are people who are, you are tolerating people the way they speak. You are giving them, until you get somebody is getting the point that you have not gotten, thinking in a different perspective from where you were thinking. And this is a really good thing. And today, I want to thank you because you have brought a point, a topic that is really different from what we have been discussing. Tumekuwa tukilalamika Ruto, sijui nini. Now we are shifting from there, and now we are in a planning path. Where are we going? And that is really good. And that is my submission. I really thank you.
Much appreciated, and thanks for the compliments. I've also learned from the best, the mujadalas of this world, so I can tell you, in this house, you get refined every week, and that's what we are learning. Rich Star.
My closing remarks. I'd like to urge all the youth who are here, going forward even past 2027 and the coming elections. If you're going to settle on one candidate, then let us settle for someone who will foster youth inclusivity in the incoming government. Let us not contend with someone who will be interested in recycling the previous politicians. Let us choose someone who will include us, someone who will invite us to the high table so that we can help solve some of our underlying issues. That is all.
Very well. Thanks. You guys are doing very good, especially the discipline of keeping time in your final submissions. Now, I George, the young George, and thank you, George, for being so articulate, bold, and doing a very good job. Your closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you once again. Okay, all I can now say, even as I, conclude it all, is that we have to rewrite the narrative, as young people. We must really move out of the norm and go and sell our agenda out there, because that's the only thing that will help us, counter whatever the older generation have, that is the resources and all that. So we might not have all the resources, but with the right agenda and vision, we can convince the masses. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. A very good job, and I hope you will be creating time for us when you have a chance to really come and talk to us. And one of the things that we're going to build in here, learning from our elders here, is that with the time, after maybe a month or so, we will start talking like not about the older generation narrative and a younger generation narrative, but it's a narrative. What we're trying to do is bad narrative and bad governance, because there are young people with bad leadership and there are older people with extremely bad leadership. But at the end of the day, we are going to really make a very strong team of everybody. Before I give George Jom, unless you really have to go, because I want you guys to close. We have a new speaker that have come in. I'm gonna give you very brief moments because you came in when we were closing, and then I can let the Jomo, Jadala, and Anthony close, and then the co-host will close. So if you allow me, because you have already been given a mic, I think I will allow Osama and UFP, and then we go to Joe Jomo, then Anthony Mjadala, and then we can close with our co-host. Please, let's go in that order, Osama.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, my host. Again, I just want to say something small. When we are going to this election, as we carry the IDs in 2027, as you carry your ID, also don't forget your brain at home. Make sure that you carry your brain. It is the most important tool for now. And for the Gen Zs who are going to vie, my fellows, let us not just participate, but let's crush the ego of these old men who have been occupying these positions for more than 15 years and they're not helping us in changing the system. Yeah, thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Osama. Yes. So
I
funny.
like how he said it. These old men, because we are tired. God damn it.
I can see it. You guys are completely tired, but I like don't
Old
leave your
man.
brain behind. Joma, do you want to go? You want me to get UFP and then you can go Joma after UFP? Because after that, we'll be done with the brothers, except for your in house people. UFP? UFP Patty?
Justice,
Yes, yeah, go ahead. Correct.
Justice, how are you?
We're
I
doing
think
good.
everybody has a good evening. Let me start by saying well done to I think you have started now reading the reality. When the real issue starts striking off, that is when people start now rearranging and thinking differently. As we were here last and some few days here, there's something I asked people. Whenever we are doing something, we need to have a metric of events. Like, for example, I've heard you say the topic was about how without money, without resources. But I can assure you, with your brain only and with your attitude, you can move a mountain without even money. Because there's one thing you can do. You can be a good planner, but a very poor effective maker. But also you can be a good effective maker, but very low in terms of action taking. So those two things conjoin one another. So I would like to say, because don't want to take a lot of time, I would like to tell each and every person here, it's not the quantity, it is not the much you have, it is what you have in your in your leadership skills that give you the priority, that give you the opportunity, that give you the charisma to be accepted. That one is a fact. Then there is another thing. They also think a bad character sells a lot. It is sales, not selling. It is sales a lot. What do I mean by selling? It can attract because many people would like to know why. It like if I follow example of 2022 election, we also wanted to know why the Kaongo was being attacked, the Kaongo was giving us a narrative, all many. And because that was not being the topic, I would say it's upon us as a youth, as readers, as old, as young generation, as the millennial, to set as above all odds that this is what we are going, this is where we are. We have, I think we have our own articulation that will make all. And I think that is my submission for today. Thank you and have a good evening.
Much appreciated. And thank you for creating time to be here. George Jomo, karibu sana. And you can get to
Yeah.
Tony and Mjadala.
Thanks, Justice, and thanks for the time with Keita, Mutai, for taking your time to host us all every day. We appreciate what you're doing, man. It's tiring, but you're doing well. Mine, Justice, was simple. Like Matiangi and them guys, they're in your neighborhood right now. Can we get them into this space so that we stop speaking about them and speak to them? Is that a possibility? That's what I wanted to ask you.
It's a good question. I know some of the people that have been in our space here, like, Dr. My Oh, Oriko, Dr. Oriko, I think were the ones who, quite let me not put him on the spot. But anyway, there are people that have been planning their evening meetings and all that. I will check because I know they are really engaged in the evenings, but maybe not weekdays. So let me check with the two people that I know, and then of course I will get back to ask the team and see if we can get some of them. That's a good suggestion, and Josh will follow up on that. I promise that. That'll be a very good one, actually. Yeah, thank you. All right, let's go to Tony. Thank you for being here, Tony, and for presenting very powerfully and also, giving a plan. into this movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice, and your very able team. Um, I can't speak for everyone and tell people which direction they need to take, but I can tell you what I intend to do to change the course of this country. Because change starts at a personal level. It does not start as a collective. It starts at an individual person. And all these things we have spoken about resources, you attract what you believe in. If you speak of change and people see it in you, then those people donate their resources to you. And when you talk about resources, let's not get confused. It's not only monetary. People donate monetary as one of them. They donate their minds to you. They donate their assets to you. They donate their time to you. And that is how you build a constituency of believers. But on our part, we must give these people a roadmap to the Kenya that we want and the Kenya that we envision. And that roadmap needs to be captured in a document. And I had the guy who said he's only 19. I think his name was George. He talked about Paul Mirigwe, the gentleman from Meru. He talked about Peter Salasia. And he said what they went to the people with was a plan that if you elect me, I will do this. And they started handing out those pamphlets. They caught the attention of change makers. That is how change begins. It begins by you writing down what you intend to do and giving people a solution. And I'll finish by saying, we all know what is wrong with Ruto. We need to stop talking about him. We all now need to start talking to the people about what we intend to do that is different from what Ruto is doing. Because everyone knows what he's doing wrong. We need to tell them what we are going to do that is right and different from him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony Moriti, fellow soldier in this battlefield. Karibu sana, and that is Mjadala.
Shukran. And I'm really happy that Joshua actually just got here just when I was about to give my final submission, because earlier on I had invoked Joshua's name as one of the people that are already doing what we're asking for the youth to do. Throughout the night, my theme has been let's not be too harsh on the movement and on the achievements we've made, because we have made good achievements. The likes of Joshua have taken the responsibility or the mantle to be leaders and carve out their names on the history in the history books as people who are moving the discussion forward. So let's not be harsh on ourselves, because I think that sometimes when we have these discussions, we're always having a very defeatist angle or perspective to everything that has happened to this point. So number one, let's celebrate our wins. And I mentioned Joshua, I mentioned Evans, I mentioned Anthony, I mentioned even you, Justice. What you're doing is quite admirable. Number two, we all know that politics in Kenya is attached to resources, and so however which way you get that resource is a good thing. So the financial muscle is good. Don't take it for granted at all. So if you can get it from crowdsourcing, the likes of Joshua, if you have your agendas and you need some money, don't be afraid to ask, because we don't expect that you have billions of money of dollars unless you're George Ruto, who can build a matatu with 3 seats and a DJ inside of it. So we know where the money's come from. But if you don't have the money, don't be afraid. Crowdsourcing is a legit way of finding or accruing legit sources of funding. Last but not least, let's continue the discussions. I do appreciate this space very, very much, because I don't associate with spaces where people are silenced. I don't associate with spaces where people are not having critical and discussions are challenged and moderated in the manner that Keita and Mutai and yourself, Justice, have done today. So, and I want to give Mutai some flowers, because I think Mutai has done a good job since I got here. Keita, the time that you've hosted as well, you've done a good job, and I commend you both very, very well. So thank you very much, Justice, for the opportunity, and I do appreciate your friendship and your space. And then I wanted to mention also that Ruda, please feel encouraged, because I know that, like I said earlier, Justice kept asking me, how is it that we can fix ourselves or level up before we level Kenya up? One of the ways to do that is to do exactly what you said. You've said that the spaces have given you opportunity, this space specifically has given you an opportunity to voice your concerns and have the courage to express yourself in a way that you feel heard and understood. Asante sana, nashukuru sana for that feedback. Justice kwako.
Thank you very much, Mjadala, and for being such a resourceful person for all of us. My friend Keita, karibu sana.
No, ladies first. Mutai, go ahead first. Come on, man. You can't do that. Uncle, ladies first.
All right.
Ladies first. Mutai, go first.
As much as I don't subscribe to chivalry, when Keita says ladies first, it's okay. I'm going to take that opportunity because perhaps someday I'm going to vie against him for presidency and he will end up saying ladies first.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much, Justice. Thank you for this space. Thank you, Keita, for helping me co-host. You're a great co-host. And before we wrap up, I want to sincerely thank all you guys, all you speakers and the listeners for the contribution that you have brought in. There are very many insightful perspectives. And I want to mention Anthony. I hold you in high regards. And I feel that you actually spoke about something that touched me personally. And I can tell that you're genuinely committed. I could hear the conviction in your voice, and I was telling myself, this is very compelling. I wish that perhaps somehow you will able to get people who are of like who are like-minded just like you. I just want to say that in this space there are a lot of voices, there are a lot of people, and it will be okay if we maybe connect, network, collaborate, and in building that connection we can actually turn these ideas that we do have in here into actionable things. And I want to also encourage everyone in here that as much as we all have these dreams that we want to see before we exit Earth, I want us to commit into investing these dreams, empowering voices of different people, the youth, the old, all of them, and let us harness our energy for a better Kenya where no youth or older person is left behind. Let us channel these powers wisely. We don't just want to build a nation, we want to ignite a revolution of hope, of progress, and of unity that will resonate for generations to come. I know that we've always wished for a better Kenya, but we could be the people that makes Kenya for our better for our children and for their children. Thank you very much, Justice. That is all that I do have.
Now, Keita, karibu sana. Thank you.
All right, Justice. You always put me in these compromising positions, and I'm young Django, rambunctious in nature. I like to get rowdy. But we've had a very good conversations today. I want to recognize two people, two special ladies, and they're still here even right now. The first one is Wanjira Achieng Chebet Wanjiro. Her handle name is at Wanjiro Njira. Thank you. I've been on her spaces and I've really heard so much. I wasn't enlightened in politics, but being on their spaces, wow. And then another lady is Malia Davis. Yeah, Malia has also been a very good political champion. You know, our women we should also rally with us. It should not only be men that are fighting for this thing. No, I know there are so many ladies, but these are the only two that I've heard speaking mostly, and I hope to hear many more. And also, Mutai, I've not forgotten you. Okay, yeah, Mutai is also there. Yeah. So, thank you so much, Justice, for the space. Until we meet again, and also George, George has some very interesting takes. George, I hope to see you next on the space. Anthony, Mjadala, Ruda, Osama, all of you guys. I see. I think you're the only guys that I know really pretty much. But and Richta, and that young man, George. I won't forget his name. George, I hope to see you on the next space. Eh, Aluta continua. Go ahead, Justice. Thank you for the space.
Much appreciated, and thank you for really being such an amazing co-host together with Mutai, who's been here from the time we opened this space. The rest of the speakers, the listeners, and those that have come in to support, share ideas, and even put up your comments. We find this to be a way of sacrificing to build a movement that is going to help us to grow. One of the things that I remember Mjadala asked me one time, I think we were probably on the phone call or maybe a text, was like, yes, we can build this to go even beyond just politics, because there is much more that can be done beyond just the elections and taking leadership, taking over leadership. And that is why we are coming together to recognize all your input, all your skills, all your potentials, and what you can benefit from those who have at least gone ahead and have been able to achieve one or two things. So in this space, you will find a place to voice your thoughts, your ideas, bounce them over to us. They will be challenged, that I promise. You'll be asked questions, but they will be done with a lot of grace and in a way so that we can all grow together. We were there. I remember I wanted to ask George, the young man that spoke, that where were you 25 years ago, or at least 26 years ago? And I only realized he's only 19. So the reason as to why I wanted to ask him that is that I was at the very minimum 26 years. That was the George that spoke today. That was me 26 years ago. God is so good. So anyway, my point is that we've traveled that journey, but what has kept us is don't give up hope. Let somebody hold your hand, and don't allow so many things to distract you, because there's so many distractions, especially right now. So for you, I want you to realize that a knockdown is not a knockout. It's an opportunity to rise with greater momentum. And once you rise, keep moving. God bless you. Good night. See you next time.
So ungesema hivyo na Kiswahili, ungesema bye na Kiswahili.
Able translate that. I want to hear
Kuna
that.
watu tu wanapenda show off.
Hapana.
Show off, show off, show off.
And you see, you almost put in my pastoral moment there. You make me love these people more. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next time.
Justice,
Yeah.
Justice.
Yeah.
Jadala is dying to show his Kiswahili skills off. So let him, please let him.
I know I wanted him to, because he's very good with that. And we probably need to have something record where that's gonna be the intro and the outro thing, where we have to do it in Swahili. You know?
I know.
Justice nasema wapenzi wasikilizaji, meli imetia nanga. Kwa wale wote ambao mliko hapa, tumefurahi sana kuwa nanyi. Sisi kama wale ambao tumekuja hapa kila mara, tunashukuru sana kwa uwepo wenu, kwa sababu bila nyinyi wote basi hatuna mjadala hapa. Mungu awe nanyi wote, na wale ambao wanapenda kuleta msukosuko kwenye inbox, Mungu awanyeshe rehema zake, mbadilike, kesho muwe watu wafadhali kuliko leo. Lakini cha mno ni wale ambao wanataka kuwa viongozi kama Joshua, tunawaomba kwamba mrudi hapa siku nyingine tuweze kuwa na mkutano kambambe. Asanteni sana, Mola awe nanyi. Bye bye.
You're hired, bro.
Yeah, we were just chilling.
I will have to rehearse that. You're hired, right?
Spectacular, spectacular.
That was good. Thanks, guys. I will end this place now.
Utauma mdomo